Oh, hello, this is Tak Chung from Walk with Tak. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. In my fast cooking system, there are 4 attributes, and this word fast is the 4 attributes stand for flavor chasing, advanced prepping, stir frying, and template-based cooking. The cooking method that I selected for my fast cooking system is stir frying because of its speed, efficiency, and flexibility. However, there are a lot of questions people have about stir frying, that is, how much heat it is necessary for do stir frying. And since the wok have a curvature along its edges, and therefore the flat surface of the wok, if you use a flat bottom wok, is relatively small and it will only come in contact with a small area of a stove. Particularly in the case of a flat glass top electric stove. As you can see here, is that most part of the wok actually is not in contact with the heated area of the stove. So frequently people will ask me, is it hot enough when you do not have direct contact with the surface of the glass? And this question is quite prevalent, and it also makes a lot of sense. But I want to explain briefly how a glass top electric stove actually works and why it is not important for the wok in full contact with the flat glass surface in order to receive the heat. Without going into the physics of heat transfer, I want to just point it out to you is that in this type of stove, the heat actually is a form of heat energy referred to as radiant heat. Now, in radiant heat, the heat actually are transferred by photons, which the best example of this photon transducted heat is when you get the heat you feel from the sun, you actually feel the heat through radiant heat. In this case, of course, you do not need to have direct contact in order to experience the heat. Similarly, the same thing when you stand in front of a campfire, you will feel the heat without actually obviously touching the flame. So in the case of a glass top electric range, even though the side of the wok did not come in directly contact with the surface of the glass, it will still receive the heat coming from it. I received an email from Phil and he asked me the question whether the heat transfer is successful on a glass top electric range to his wok. And should he find some sort of a device that will allow him to have a more efficient heat transfer? And my answer to his question is that first of all, the heat transfer actually is very efficient, although further away you are from the source of the heat, the dissipation of the radiant energy will reduce the amount of heat. This will happen no matter what. And secondly, it is actually not important when it comes to stir frying because everything in stir frying takes place at the bottom of the wok, and your bottom of the wok has the shortest distance to the glass surface, and so in this case you will get plenty of heat necessary for you to cook your stir fry dishes. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate this point by cooking a tofu dish using frozen vegetables as well as some fresh vegetables. And since Phil is a vegan, and I think this is an appropriate dish for me to demonstrate this point. I'm going to cook this dish in my Cuisinart 14-inch stainless steel wok. I'm going to start out with 2 tablespoons of canola oil. And of course, you can use any oil that you would like as long as it has a high smoking point. In this case, I do not really need to spot season the wok because I have cooked an egg dish before it. And besides, this dish is going to be a tofu dish and mainly with vegetables, and none of those will stick to the bottom surface of the wok. So there's no need for spot season the wok at all. The first thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to use some portobello mushroom and together with some zucchini as well as purple cabbage that I already have in my advanced prepping. The only thing that I make modification to those ingredients is that I cut them up into smaller pieces. So first of all, they will fit to the overall profile of the dish. And secondly, they're going to cook a little bit faster. Now, in addition to this fresh vegetable, I decided I'm also going to add some frozen vegetable. The main frozen vegetable that I want to add to this dish is some edamame because my son loves edamame, and I also add a little bit of a frozen vegetable mix. This will provide nice color to the dish. So the next thing is that I just quickly stir fry the ingredients for only about a few seconds. Now I'm going to season the dish because everything cut into very small pieces, they cook very rapidly. The first thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to add some garlic pepper. This is a good way to substitute for fresh garlic, and this garlic pepper works really well. And then I'm going to add some spicy sesame oil, and this is followed by some chili pepper flakes. All of this will make the dish quite spicy. Again, this is how my son likes it. And this is followed by adding some soy sauce to add saltiness to this dish. Next is I'm going to add 1 pound of firm tofu that I cut them into cubes. Now tofu is excellent for cooking this dish. The tofu will absorb the flavor of the dish extremely well, and you can season the dish in many different ways. But tofu works really well when the dish is spicy, and particularly if you like spicy food, this will be a perfect dish that you will enjoy. And tofu is very nutritious. As my friend Jackie said to me, if you like tofu, nutritionally you are all set because you can eat tofu every day and it will give you all the nutritional requirement that you need. And next, I add a touch of oyster sauce. Now, in this case, oyster sauce is entirely optional. If you like to have more savory flavor to the dish, you can add oysters. For people who are vegan, you can use a vegetarian oyster sauce to provide the same effect. Again, it is very much preferential and depend on how you would like the flavor of your dish. After mixing the vegetables with the tofu, I do a taste test to make sure that the flavor is how I like it. After the taste test, I decided I probably will like it a little bit saltier. I adjust the flavor a little bit more by adding some additional soy sauce to increase the saltiness of the dish. And this is how my son likes it. And this is a good example of flavor chasing. If I cook for somebody else, I probably will do a slightly different strategy. After a few quick mix, the dish is ready. Now the total cook time of this dish is only about 6 minutes. So when Phil told me that it took him 20 minutes to cook his dish, of course there are many factors and reasons that why it took him longer than what I normally experience when I use my glass top electric range. Most of the time it takes me about 10 minutes maximum to cook most of my dishes, except when I cook dishes that with a large volume such as fried rice, and still it usually will not take me more than 10 or 12 minutes. So Phil, please take a look at this video and you can write me again to explain to me the situation you are in, and maybe I can help you to solve your problem. So thank you very much in asking these questions. I enjoy answer any question that you might have. Please write me at this email address walkwithtak@gmail.com. This will allow me to answer your question more thoroughly than answer in the comment section. And quite often I do not see all the comments. I post a video each day to help you to make home cooking as part of your daily routine. If you would like to adopt my fast cooking system, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. So keep on cooking. I will see you tomorrow.